President Trump is considering sending $5,000 stimulus checks to Americans. This is breaking news, and seniors are included in this package. I have all the details, and I am going to be walking you through all of it. So let's get started. Now, this is something that just came a few days ago, and I did the research, and here is what I'm going to cover today because I think it's really critical. So stay with me through the entire presentation. There's a lot to cover today. Who is eligible for this 5,000 stimulus? That is called the DOGE dividend check. And then President Trump is also working on a huge tax cut that is currently being worked on in Congress as we speak. There is a lot of negotiations that is happening regarding this tax cut. So I am going to bring you details about that. And most importantly, how much are you going to get in these rounds of tax cuts that are being considered by Congress? Both the House and the Senate have separate bills that they're looking at. And then stay to the end of this video because the IRS is getting ready to mail the final stimulus checks to those who did not get one. And that is happening this month. I'm going to bring you all the details around that. So let's get started. Now, here's the thing. If you are new to this channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because all we do is bring you the latest news and update, anything in and out of Congress that's going to affect your Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and any personal finance issues that affects seniors. Now, first, as usual, I want to know where you're watching this broadcast from. So let me know in the comments your city or your state. If you're watching from abroad, let me know which country and city you are watching from. We like to know where our viewers are watching our broadcast. So let's jump right into the first breaking news. 5,000 stimulus checks from the DOGE savings. Basically, this is all over the news. This is the White House answering questions. This is Fox News carrying this particular news story saying, White House to send stimulus checks to Americans. And then this is another Fox broadcast, Trump administration considering stimulus checks for taxpayers. And then this is CNN. Trump says DOGE could return 20% of its savings directly to taxpayers. I know some states that have done this. I think Colorado, Arizona, and California and New York returned some of the money they got from extra sales tax receipts back to their citizens. This is a similar plan. So Trump says DOGE could return 20% of its savings directly to taxpayer. This is happening. And then you have Forbes. Would you get a Trump DOGE dividend check? You may be shocked who qualifies for this and who doesn't. Well, I'm going to explain all that to you. This is from The Guardian. Trump floats idea to give Americans 20% of savings from DOGE cost cutting, on and on and on. So I'm here to bring you details. That's what I do. So I done the research and I've looked into all of this, and here's what's happening. The investment firm CEO, James Fishback, proposed a DOGE dividend. This is something he posted on social media, suggesting that 20% of the government savings should be returned to taxpayers. The proposal quickly gained attention after Elon Musk responded that he would check with the president. So somebody, a president of an investment firm, James Fishback, started all of this. He posted on Twitter, on X, and then Elon saw it and said he would check with the president. And then the president and Elon were asked directly, and Trump said that's an idea he is considering. So the plan would take the $400 billion that DOGE is hoping to save, which is what Elon Musk is trying to do, 20% of that, which is $2 trillion So basically, they're trying to save $2 trillion from the DOGE program. They're going to take 20% of that, which is $400 billion, and distribute it to 79 million taxpayer households. And that is how they got to the $500 per qualifying household. So it's just pure math. 2 trillion, 20% of that divided by 79 million people, and you get 5,000. The proposed payment will occur around July 2026 after DOGE has completed its mission of cost cutting. While both Trump and Musk have expressed interest in the concept, neither has formally committed to implementing it. The plan will require congressional approval, which faces significant hurdles. Now, while DOGE claims 55 billion in savings, independent analysis suggests that the figure is around 8.6 billion. So there is a long way to go. But the thing is that DOGE has up until July 2026 to finish this work. So they're trying to get $2 trillion and they are working on it. DOGE has faced criticism for potentially double counting some savings. These are things that they are working through. The discrepancies raise the question about whether they're going to hit the 2 trillion. But Elon has said they would, and Trump has indicated that he wants them to save $2 trillion. So that's where they're going. The program will review everything that the federal government is doing and try to find places that they could cut waste, fraud, and abuse from the system. So who is eligible? Who will be eligible for this DOGE stimulus check or the DOGE dividend? Only households that are net taxpayers of federal income taxes will qualify for the payment. This excludes approximately 40% of American households who don't earn enough to pay federal taxes. Now, this particular point was brought up in a feed that I was following, and from what I'm reading, Trump is planning to send it to all Americans. So I am going to dig into this further and clarify the fact that if you did not pay any federal taxes, are you going to qualify for the $5,000 DOGE stimulus? So in my next video, I'm going to find the answer for you. But right now, from what I've researched, it says that everyone qualifies. Of the roughly 130 million households, only 79 million will be eligible for payments. This intentionally excludes lower income Americans and those on fixed income. So right now, that is what is being reported, and that is what I'm bringing you. I'm going to look into it and confirm, because Trump has said he wants to send stimulus to all Americans. The proposal explicitly aims to incentivize labor force participation by excluding non-workers. This would affect retirees, disabled individuals, and low-income workers who receive tax refunds. No clear mechanism exists for verifying eligibility or preventing fraud in the distribution, so this is another issue they will have to deal with. The program intentionally creates a national snitch network by tying payment amount to reported saving. So basically what they want to do is create a system where citizens can report waste and abuse and fraud in federal government, so that this particular idea of sending regular stimulus payments back to the people from the money that has been saved from these inefficiencies will become a regular thing. So it's supposed to incentivize citizens so that if you want to continue to get these stimulus payments, these DOGE dividends, then you all participate in this idea of collectively trying to root out fraud, abuse, and waste in the federal government. Benefit recipients will face increased scrutiny and false reports from people seeking larger dividend payments. So here's the problem with this whole system, is that they're trying to incentivize people to snitch on each other in exchange to get stimulus checks. So if you're getting government benefits, SNAP, Medicaid, other assistance, then your neighbors become people who are scrutinizing you whether you should be getting the payment or not. I am not sure if this is a good idea, because people are going to be reporting false things and getting their neighbors investigated because they want to grow the pie so that they can get future stimulus checks. The system will create a culture of surveillance where citizens monitor each other and use government agencies. Even legal activities could trigger unnecessary investigations. Government agencies would need to process an increased volume of fraud reports, many of which might be unfounded or malicious. So how is this going to impact? What is the economic impact of this stimulus? The proposal will provide larger benefits to higher income households while excluding those most in need. This contrasts sharply with previous stimulus programs. The reporting incentive structure could lead to increased stigma and barriers for legitimate assistance users. This might deter eligible individuals for seeking. So basically, it's going to be a way to kind of put people who are getting government benefits, food stamps, Medicaid, on alert, and in a particular situation where everybody is scrutinizing you whether you should be getting this benefit. So this whole stimulus thing, while it's a good idea, is going to create a surveillance state that we're going to be watching each other and reporting each other, because we are hoping that we are growing some inefficiency pot so that some stimulus money will be returned to us. I'm just reporting what I have been reported in the news, largely by all these organizations I've shared with you. This is exactly how this is going to be designed. The report incentive structure could lead to increased stigma and barriers. And while this is happening, there's also inflation concerns. While supporters claim the payment will be inflationary because they are funded by cuts, economists dispute this assumption. The concentrated distribution to higher income households could still impact spending and prices. The aggressive cost cutting required to fund the payments will reduce essential government services. This might particularly impact vulnerable populations. So, what does Congress think about all of this? The proposal faces significant opposition from Democrats and fiscal conservative Republicans. Neither party appears likely to provide sufficient votes for passage. Even if approved, the 2026 July deadline payment would be affected by legal challenges and implementation delays. This makes the timing highly uncertain. Many lawmakers argue that any savings should go towards deficit reduction rather than dividend payments. This creates other obstacles to the passage of this particular stimulus bill. The proposal's fate may be influenced by the 2026 elections as both parties position themselves as government spending and social programs. So here's the thing, because I want to hear from you. DOGE is supposed to eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse in the system. That money that is saved, should it be sent as stimulus to a program that most high income payers are probably going to benefit from the most? Or should it be put in the Social Security and Disability Trust Fund and in the Medicare and the Medicaid Trust Fund? Well, there's no Medicaid Trust Fund, there's a Medicare Trust Fund. Should they put it in there so that those programs will be shored up? So rather than sending out stimulus checks that could spark inflation, should they rather save the money and put it into Social Security so that all the money that was taken out of Social Security and never paid back, should that be used for that and fix that problem rather than sending out another stimulus check that's going to disproportionately benefit high income earners? And as you can see, there's going to be significant challenges in sending out a stimulus check if it's not going to go to all Americans and going to go to a select few. 79 million of the 130 million eligible is still a big chunk. And so let me know what you think in the comments. Is this stimulus a good idea? Do you think President Trump should send the DOGE stimulus to everybody or specifically to those who pay taxes? And do you think the surveillance state that is going to be created where people snitch on each other and report each other about benefit or government benefits they are receiving or government contracts, do you think that's a good idea and it's a good use of government resources? And then finally, do you think the money should be put into the Social Security Trust Fund, or do you have better places that you think the savings from the DOGE program should be spent rather than being sent as a stimulus check? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So, what should Americans know? Given the political and practical obstacles, Americans should not count on receiving these payments. Financial plans should not include anticipated DOGE dividends because this is going to have to be approved by Congress, and who knows what they're going to do. The proposal remains conceptual with no formal legislation or implementation plan. Many crucial details remain undefined. Some Americans may still be eligible for unclaimed COVID-era stimulus payments through the recovery rebate. So if during the stimulus rebates, stimulus checks that came during the pandemic, if you did not receive any of that, then stay till the end of this video because I have updates. The IRS is getting ready to send the final stimulus checks from the COVID stimulus era. Stay tuned for that. And I'll keep you posted on this DOGE stimulus because this is something that is going to continue to get a lot of press. We're going to find out more details. And specifically, I'm going to look into whether seniors and people on disability and people who are not paying income taxes on their benefits, are they going to be eligible for the DOGE stimulus? In addition to everything that's happening, President Trump is also pushing for tax cuts. Congress is working on that right now. And so I'm going to explain to you who is going to benefit from the Trump tax cuts. This is a $4.5 trillion to all the way to $11 trillion in tax cuts that they're considering right now. So here's the details. Now, before I get into any of that, a lot of you have been commenting about Medicare and the frustrations you're facing getting quality coverage from Medicare Advantage to other Medicare-related plans. If that is you, there is an open enrollment season right now. Call our partner, Chapter Medicare. It is free. They will help you. They have access to all 24,000 Medicare plans. You will see the link in the description or in the comments, or you can fill out a form and they can save you as much as $1,100 a year. They'll work with you one-on-one and they don't work for commission. So their main goal is to help you find the best Medicare plan. So if you're frustrated with Medicare, Chapter is the company you should be calling. So let's talk about the Trump tax cuts. So Trump backs the House, which has put together a 4.5 trillion in tax cuts. So let's talk about it. The House of Representatives has approved a budget blueprint allowing for 4.5 trillion in tax cuts, making the largest proposed tax reduction in American history. This comprehensive package includes both extension of the 2017 tax cuts and new proposals targeted specifically at certain types of incomes. The plan includes 8 major priorities, which I'm going to talk about, from eliminating taxes on tips and Social Security benefits to adjusting the SALT cap and closing tax loopholes. These changes would affect virtually every American taxpayer in some way with varying impact across income levels. The timeline: the proposal must move through both houses of Congress, with Republicans holding a slim majority in both houses. The complex legislation process involves multiple committees and will likely extend through much of 2025. This package represents President Trump's primary tax initiative for his second term, building upon his 2017 tax reforms, which added new populist elements. The administration views this as a cornerstone of his economic agenda. So what is specific in this tax proposal? 1, no tax on tips. You've heard this before. This will eliminate all taxes on gratuities, benefiting over 4 million tip workers in the U.S. Currently, these workers must pay income tax, Social Security tax, and Medicare tax on their tip income. So this is going to take that money away. So it has consequences for Social Security. It has consequences for Medicare, because we've talked about the fact that Social Security Trust Fund is going to run out of money. This is another idea that is going to drain it further, because expected money from these tips are not going to be coming to the Social Security and Medicare trust funds. The second idea, or the second tax cut, is Social Security benefit. The proposal will eliminate taxes on Social Security benefits, which currently affects recipients earning $25,000 if you're single and $32,000 if you're married. This would reverse a 1984 reform that first made these benefits partially taxable. The next one is overtime pay. All overtime pay will become tax-free or exempted from taxes, affecting over 10 million Americans who regularly work more than 40 hours a week. This represents a significant change in how additional work hours are compensated and taxed. And then finally, the big one, extension of the 2017 tax cuts. The plan would make permanent the individual and business tax cuts from the 2017 Tax and Jobs Act, which are currently set to expire in 2025. This included maintaining lower tax brackets and increased standard deductions. So Trump says this is the largest middle-class tax cut in history. Is he right about that? Well, let's look into the details. According to the Treasury Department analysis, the middle 20% of households will receive an average tax cut of $660, a 1.1% increase in after-tax income. So that is the middle 20% of the population. While the top 1% will receive an average of $60,000 and $300, a whopping 3.9% increase in after-tax income. The disparity shows the tax cuts are slightly tilted towards high-income earners. Now, how does this compare historically? Previous tax cuts like the 2009 Obama stimulus package provided larger benefits to the middle class as a percentage of income. The 1986 Reagan tax reform and the 1976 4 tax cuts also provided more substantial middle-class tax relief when adjusted for inflation. So clearly, this plan that President Trump is providing, this tax cut that they are extending, is going to be tilted towards providing more money, more break towards to the rich, to the top 1% versus everybody else, compared to the Reagan tax cuts, to the 4 tax cuts, to the Obama tax cuts. The proposed elimination of taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security benefits will help some middle-class families, but the largest dollar amounts of those benefits will still go to higher income households who pay higher marginal tax rates. Many of the most substantial cuts in the package, like estate tax changes, exclusively benefit the wealthy. So what are the long-term impacts? While middle-class families will see some tax relief, their benefits will be partially offset by proposed cuts to social programs and potential price increases from new tariffs. Additionally, many of the middle-class provisions have proposed caps or limitations, while benefits for the wealthy have fewer restrictions. Guys, I am not making this up. This is available to all of us to read. You can go to the Congressional Republicans package from the House and the Senate and read all the details of the tax cuts yourself. I am just giving you a summary because I have read it and I'm giving you the summary of the proposals. So if you see this and you're in doubt, all you have to go is to go to the GOP website in the House, go to the GOP website in the Senate, get the tax proposals for yourself. It's a gazillion pages, and read it for yourself. And then you see and conclude the same thing that I am telling you here. So I am just reporting what is out there from the government's websites. Now, here are the spending cuts that need to take place in order for them to fund this tax cut. The package requires at least $1.5 trillion in spending reduction, because if you're going to give money to some people, you have to take it from somewhere. With a target $2 trillion in cuts to mandatory spending. What are mandatory spending? Well, mandatory spending includes SNAP program, food stamps, Medicaid, and other social services that the government is mandated to spend money on because of legislation. They want to pull that back by a huge amount. In addition, the total package will add about $5 to $11 trillion to this deficit, according to the Nonpartisan Committee for Responsible Federal Budget. This estimate factors in both direct costs of the tax cuts and their potential economic effects. So how about state and local impact? The proposal includes adjustment to the SALT cap, which currently limits state and local tax deductions to $10,000. This change will partially affect taxpayers in high tax states like New York, California, and New Jersey. Revenue sources. The administration is suggesting using increased tariff revenue and government efficiency savings to offset some of the costs. However, independent analysis show whether these can actually generate sufficient funding. Currently, tariffs bring in about less than 3% of the total government revenue. The government brings in about $5.1 trillion, and tariffs only form about 3% of that. So it's going to be a big, big lift to increase the percentage of tariffs, that the contribution that tariffs brings to the total government revenue. Now let's look at the economic implications. Nothing is for free. Corporate rates for made in America products will drop to 15%, while other businesses might see a reduction to 20%. These changes aim to incentivize domestic manufacturing and production. A lot of people are going to be happy about that. Consumers, proposed tariffs to help fund the tax cuts could lead to higher prices on imported goods. Now, here is something that a lot of people do not understand and appreciate, and a lot of people are going to want to go into the comments and come at me for this, but I think a lot of people don't understand how tariffs work. Foreign governments do not pay tariffs to America. If the US imposes tariffs on, say, goods from China, the Chinese government does not pay the tariffs to the American government. It is American businesses that buy goods from China, who are importing them in the United States, when the goods arrive here in the United States, they will pay the tariff to the US Customs at the border, wherever the border of entry is. And then so that money, the business person who imported that good is going to pay that tariff at the port of entry. And then they are going to then pass on that money, that extra tariff, to the consumer. That is how tariffs work. And so if anybody is telling you anything different, they are lying to you. The government, the American government cannot tax the Mexican government or the British government or the French government and tax them with tariffs. The tariffs is just on specific goods and services that are brought from those countries into America. And it is paid by people who are importing those goods into the country. So it could be anything from avocado. If they put tariffs on avocado, well, the person who is buying avocado is going to come in here, and when the avocado arrives from wherever it's coming from, they're going to put the extra tariff on it, because business people are not in the non-profit business. They're not going to say, oh, I am not going to increase my prices. I'm going to just eat up the cost. They don't do that. Business people don't do that. They're going to pass on the cost to the consumer. So it's important to understand, when people say tariffs are going to lead to inflation and higher prices, it's because people are going to pass on the saving, the cost, back to the consumer. So proposed tariffs to help fund the tax cuts could lead to higher prices on important goods. Economists predict this could increase costs for everyday items and potentially fuel inflation. This is basic economics. And then employment consideration. The overtime tax exemption is designed to incentivize additional work hours and help businesses find willing workers. However, some economists warn it could create complications in wage calculations and reporting. And then the financial markets are closely watching this, and they're going to react based on whether they like what they see or not. So that remains to be seen. Impact on different income groups. Who is going to feel the brunt of those tax cuts the most? High income earners. The wealthy Americans will receive the largest absolute dollar benefit from the tax cuts, with the top 1% seeing an average cut of $60,300. This represents a 3.9% increase in their after-tax income. The middle class will see a 20%, the middle 20% will see a $660 increase. That is a 1.1% after-tax income. This disparity benefits both, people who are at the top. And then working class benefits. The elimination of taxes on tips and overtime is specifically targeted at working class Americans. These provisions could provide significant relief to service industry workers and hourly employees. So how about seniors? The elimination of taxes on Social Security benefits will affect approximately 65 million recipients. This could be where the seniors see the most. So if you are currently paying taxes on your Social Security benefits, this is where you are going to benefit as a senior from the trust, the big, humongous tax cuts that they're about to pass. This is specifically where I see seniors benefiting the most. Let me know in the comments what you think. So Congress has to vote on it, and then the president has to sign it into law. Things are moving very fast, and I think it's going to happen in the next 90 days, because the president wants to take advantage of the first 100-day momentum and be able to push the big things that he has on his agenda before things get complicated in Congress. So expect this to move very quickly, and for them to want to push this through very quickly. So how is this going to affect the business community? Well, it remains to be seen, but it's going to have an impact on corporate. It's going to impact for small businesses, manufacturing sector, because it's supposed to aim at promoting domestic production, and the service industry, hospitality, which is going to benefit from the tips elimination, etc. and etc. So let me know in the comments what you think about all of this, because these tax cuts are huge. They're going to be made possible from money that's going to be taken from social Medicaid and food stamps and other mandatory spending programs. Is going to increase the deficit, and is going to benefit primarily or mostly people who are in the top percent of income earners. There's going to be some benefit to the middle class and the working class, in terms of elimination of taxes on tips, on overtime pay. For seniors, is going to be mainly through the elimination of taxes on Social Security. So this massive tax bill may only benefit seniors if you are paying taxes on your Social Security benefits and you want that gone. Otherwise, this is not a tax bill that is going to help seniors a lot, unfortunately. Finally, let's talk about the IRS and stimulus payments. There are stimulus checks that are going to go out this month for people who did not get stimulus from the previous time. Some of you may have qualified and didn't get the money, or some of you thought you didn't qualify and now the IRS say you qualify. But before I get into it, if you're new to this channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate you, and let us know where you're watching this from. If you haven't done so already, go in the comment section, give me your city and state, because we like to know where our viewers are coming from. So let's talk about stimulus. It's all over the news. The IRS is sending out unclaimed tax credits to 1 million taxpayers. This is USA Today talking about it. This is NBC News in their Instagram account talking about the IRS plans to issue automatic special payments of up to $1,400 to 1 million taxpayers starting later this month, the agency announced. 1 million Americans to receive checks from the IRS, that is ABC News, and on and on. So what is this about? Well, if you go to the IRS website, it tells you if you didn't receive the 2021 recovery rebate credit, you can claim it directly on their website. If you didn't receive the 2020 recovery rebate credit, you can claim it directly on their website. But here are the details. The IRS has announced a massive $2.4 billion stimulus payment program targeting 1 million Americans who missed their previous pandemic payments. This is not a new stimulus, but recovery of missed payments. The money will automatically be deposited into bank accounts starting January 2025. Recipients don't have to do anything. This initiative is specifically designed to catch those who missed their pandemic stimulus payments, particularly focused on the 600 and 1,400 rounds of the 2020 and 2021 period. Payment distributions will be automatic based on IRS internal data review. They will identify who missed the payments and send the money to them directly. The IRS is conducting a comprehensive review of their internal data to find people who were eligible but never received their stimulus payments. Target recipients are those who didn't file tax returns but were eligible for recovery rebate credit in 2021. Many did not even know they qualified. Each eligible person can receive up to $1,400, which was the amount of the third stimulus payment authorized under the American Rescue Plan. Recipients will either get direct deposit if the IRS has their bank information, or paper checks mailed to their last known address. So for the $1,400 stimulus, you don't have to do anything. The IRS handles everything automatically. Monitor your bank account. Don't throw away anything in the mail that looks like a check. It may be a stimulus check that's coming to you. So let me know what you think about everything I've covered today. I went through a lot. I first talked about the 5,000 DOGE stimulus check that President Trump and Elon Musk have embraced to send to all Americans. Now there is some confusion about whether seniors who don't pay taxes or people on disability who don't pay taxes, whether they are also eligible. I am going to research that in detail, and in my live on Monday, I am going to bring you all the details about that. I'm going to do another live tomorrow talking about Medicaid and food stamp cuts that are coming because of this huge tax bill. I'm going to bring you how much they're going to cut in Medicaid, how much they're going to cut in food stamps, who is going to be impacted. And if you know somebody that's on food stamps or Medicaid, you want to tune in tomorrow night, because I have all the details of this draconian, massive cuts to these programs that are going to hurt a lot of people and is going to fund a tax cut that is largely going to benefit the rich. Let me know what you think about Trump's tax cut proposals and everything that's in it, eliminating taxes on Social Security, on tips, on overtime pay. I want to hear from you in the comments. And Finally, this IRS taxes, the stimulus checks that's going out. Let me know if you are expecting one. If you didn't get one during the pandemic, let me know whether you are eligible for one. And as always, if you have any questions at all about Medicare, we have partnered with Chapter. They are the real deal. It is a free consultation, and they have access to all 24,000 plans. They're the only company in the entire country that has access to all the Medicare Advantage plans and other Medicare programs. Call them from the number on your screen or go to the comment section, fill out the form. It's very simple, and they'll reach out to you and help you. So until tomorrow night, when I do another live, thank you for hanging with me this Saturday night. And let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you.